Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Heaven's Secret Requiem Season 2 Episode 3. I heard there's gonna be a sexy scene with CAIN, so I said today, no Song of the Crimson Isle. Today, Heaven's Secret Requiem. So I'm intrigued. Please let it be a good scene, because if not, I'm gonna quit this story. I'm honest about this. Welcome to Adam. Alright. Adam is the base, right? Episode 3. I know who you are. Alright, then please tell me, because I don't know who I am. Oh my god. My feet sank into muddy streams. The downpour mixed with the dirt, creating a dark sludge. Wah. We went down the cliff to the huge crowd and skirted around it. I'm sorry, but in general, I remember last episode like it was yesterday, possibly because it was, not them actually being, if you don't have any special capabilities, something of use, we're gonna turn you away and allow you to turn into an abomination. Like they turn away every single human being that they think is not of any use to them. So they are actually willing to destroy every single human that isn't of any use. As in, if only 10 humans in the entire world that haven't been affected are of any use to them, then they are only gonna save 10 people and condemn every other human being. This is sad. And sadly, that's reality. The cursed glances that followed the squad didn't evoke any emotions in me. Of course, those people were suffering. Of course, they wanted to be safe and save their loved ones. But it doesn't concern me much. I can only take care of myself. Like I said, she's numb. Or maybe, like for those that actually decide to use the angel way out, tell me if she sees the suffering of people differently. Because I always viewed it as her being numb and her not being capable to actually connect with the people that are suffering, because she has seen so much pain, so that's why she's numb. But maybe because of the fact that I keep on using those devil options, maybe that's why she's this numb, why she doesn't really connect with other people anymore, why she is literally neglecting every single suffering of someone else. Dmitri was walking next to me. His massive figure blocked the view, and gradually my oppressive thoughts retreated. Before coming down, we'd return to the train. We needed to get our things and wake up the general, who was recovering from his operation. In full view of the crowd, the general tried to stand straight and keep pace with the squad.
Can you see the guy you were talking about?
No, maybe something happened. We shouldn't have let him go alone. We didn't intend to. He insisted. They were talking about Jan. He decided to go to the Oxford gates ahead of us. We wanted to bring a car so we could at least take some of the luggage, but he never returned. After waiting some time for him, we left our things on the train and went down to the city. We were walking side by side with a disgruntled crowd that almost devoured us. What? Leave me be! The mud squishing in my boots is so unpleasant. At least my clothes aren't wet. The people were whispering and making caustic comments about the squad. No one liked that we were cutting in line. Well, my apologies, ma'am, but I don't care. This is what happens when you want to survive. You could care less about, customs, norms, or rules. In general, it's known. You don't cut the line, you wait in line, because everyone else has been waiting in line until it's their turn as well. But when it comes to survival, you could care less about those rules. You cut in line. But no one dared to say that to our faces, contenting themselves only with angry looks. Arguing with armed soldiers from Adam wasn't the best idea. Suddenly we heard the vile roar of an infected, and the crowd fell on top of each other trying to get away. See? I turned around. In the distance, where the stream of people was slowly disappearing into the fog, I saw the silhouette of a patrol car, which managed to respond to the danger in time. There really are more creatures here. They just appear out of nowhere when you least expect them. There's a car, I can tell. Is it coming this way? No, it's a regular patrol car. The trunk is full of weapons.
Forget about our things. We grabbed everything important. The rest can wait.
Suddenly something small flew by. I looked around in confusion and met Ania's eyes as she wiped away a dirt clod that someone from the crowd had thrown, hitting her snow-white wings. Apologize. It seems immortals aren't welcome anywhere. Dimitri clucked his tongue and looked menacingly at the crowd. He might not have the best attitude towards angels and demons, but challenging the squad meant challenging him. Huh. Nah, y'all, like, I don't know where to place Dimitri. He's still a bitch and everything, but, like, sometimes it's strange. Like, his behavior sometimes is strange. Maybe it's because he's mentally vulnerable after what he's been through, like, changing, and then finding out he's immune and everything. Maybe that makes him a little more sensitive to other people's pain, or more like some people, like, disrespecting him or like treating him poorly, but I don't know what to say about him. I just don't like him. I feel like the author screwed them up, like Anna, Greg, and Dimitri, and Kira, when they decided to be dramatic like that, because Kira knocked us out. Anna, Greg, and Dimitri were leading the investigation, like this interrogation, so they fucked them up. And I can't move past that. So them actually trying to desperately lament for what they did back there is actually ridiculous at this point. You did this to yourself. The situation was saved by a man who called out to us from the fog.
Hey.
The outline of the man walking toward us gradually turned into a soldier who was tensely clutching his machine gun. Recognizing Dimitri, he suddenly straightened up, no trace of hostility remaining.
General, sorry I didn't recognize you. I'm glad you're finally back.
He glanced behind us.
Well, the others, those guys who went after you, who were attacked, only one survived. He should have reached you by now.
The soldier who was drowning in a too big uniform dropped his hands lifelessly. Staring blankly, he began to count his comrades on his fingers.
So, Borat, Kent, Luke, they're all gone. What about a poker game tomorrow? And Luke has a daughter.
He swallowed and clutched his weapon tighter, no longer looking us in the eye. He silently trudged forward.
No one else passed by here except you.
Everyone fell silent and quietly followed him. The pain of his loss, though we were accustomed to it, echoed in the hearts of the squad. He should get used to this. Can be envied. I mean, yes, he can't be envied, but no matter what, y'all, I'm gonna go with this, because I feel like if I try to like balance good and evil, it's only gonna cause me harm. I saw what happened last time. He should get used to this. It's hard to imagine when life will be peaceful again, and until that happens, death will always be somewhere nearby. Everyone needs to come to terms with this. Then oddly enough, it will be a little easier. Ooh-hoo! Even German! Alright, let's go! German lesson with me! Now, for the translation, I don't know if they're actually gonna translate it, so I'm gonna do it. He's saying my train, oh my train, I shouldn't have left it. Alright, which voice did I give him again?
Mein Zug, ach mein Zug, ich hätte ihn nicht verlassen sollen. Enough about the train, things are hot enough here.
The road to the gate took about half an hour. They had to stop the queues so the soldiers could inspect us. Exhausted, the people in line who had long since lost their patience pierced our backs with their stares. I tried pretending not to notice them.
General, we was wondering if you'd been sent to use us, since the squad hadn't returned yet. There's no need to send us somewhere for that. Death will find us anywhere. That's true. You see monsters more often than you see your own home.
The general looked at the soldiers and hesitated, shifting awkwardly from one foot to the other.
I won't keep you. Just flash your badges. It's a formality, but you understand.
I don't have one. Will everything be okay? Why didn't anyone warn me about this? I looked at Dimitri and he nodded reassuringly. It seemed there was nothing to worry about. Everyone raised their metal ID badges. The soldier nodded his head affirmatively and then stepped back, clearing the way.
You may pass.
The other guards slowly opened the gate, through which part of the squad disappeared immediately. I was walking after the others when my hand was suddenly grabbed.
Stop. And who are you?
Um,
Everything's okay. She's with me. With orders from the professor, only specialists in certain fields are let in. Sorry, General. I'm telling you how it is. If she's not some kind of miracle doctor, the lady will have to go to another city.
I think this is funny. The general frowned. He wanted to say something, but stopped short. We had been walking for a long time, and his wound had exhausted him, finally making itself known. Noticing this, Greg took matters into his own hands.
She's a cryptographer.
As luck would have it, before Greg spoke, the crowd behind me had quieted down, and everyone close to the gate heard my position. Goosebumps ran down my spine. Some strange whisper spread through the crowd like a wave. It struck me that their voices seemed to merge into one, cautionary yet malicious at the same time. Blaming my nerves and fatigue, I shook my head, deciding not to get worked up. The soldier chuckled loudly.
Of course, why didn't I immediately see this? Woman was actually an old man with glasses and 5 scientific degrees. Cryptographer, of course.
I gave the guard a measured look and thought, I'll keep quiet so as not to make things worse. Idiots can be upset by anything. I won't risk it. The soldier nodded, and several men in uniform grabbed my arms, holding me still. Why do I would have hit them. Don't resist. I didn't resist, not wanting to generate even more hostility toward myself. Noticing this, the soldier loosened their grips. Ooh. CAIN took a decisive step forward, but Lester stopped him. My man, he came in. He came in for the kill. He's like, bitch, you touching her? I'm sorry. He didn't want to escalate the situation, but he knew regardless that the squad wouldn't allow me to be taken away. Without saying a word, the entire squad pulled out their weapons, pointing them at the guards. You're getting closer to the squad, and it's bearing fruit,
Take your hands off her. And don't move.
Ooh, everyone said we're taking out the guns. In response, machine gun barrels pointed out from behind my back. The standoff was even. The situation was getting out of control.
General, with all due respect, Donovan will skin me alive if she finds out I just let a stranger in. Don't force me to take action. I really wouldn't want that. In that case, I'll have to do it.
Seeing that Dimitri's patient was running out, Anna intervened in the squabble.
Wait, we're all here for the same goal. Don't forget that. You have the same orders as us. We can't let her go. Either let us in with her, or bring the professor here. All these years, and you still call for mommy.
The sound of a familiar voice sent shivers down my spine. It was slightly mocking, ridiculing. Donovan always accurately identified what a person tried their best to hide, and then painfully hit the target. She suppressed her subjects in calmness, keeping extremely relaxed with others, and her excessive directness, which carried some maniac tone, made everyone cautious around her. Parting fearfully, the military men let her pass. Stopping in front of us, the professor miraculously lit a half-wet cigarette and took a deep drag, looking at the squad indifferently, of course. Resting her gaze on Dimitri, she said,
Well, my snowmobiles. And my things. You had about 40 boxes. Are you kidding me?
A strange feeling came over me. Donovan had changed and not changed at the same time. Her appearance was no longer as well-groomed and prim. It had become a little looser, more chaotic, and there was almost nothing left of her luxurious blonde hair. The weapons were still raised, but the professor didn't seem to care at all.
We lost Amir. Who's that?
Noah's face tensed, but he held back. Amir wasn't an ordinary nameless soldier. He was part of an elite unit that Adam relied on. She still doesn't care about people. Donovan doesn't even know who she's sending to the slaughter. As if reading my thoughts, she suddenly looked sharply at me.
Well.
Oh, Hands off the property, bitch. She came closer and narrowed her eyes. A sticky, barely perceptible fear made me freeze.
Yes, it's definitely you. That assistant hanging around Lyad. Or a young, sweet cryptographer.
Yeah, it's me. I remember you well, too. At this point, She's mocking us, so I'm not even gonna allow her to be more condescending than she already is. Stay quiet. I'm not saying anything. The professor waited for me to say something, but I decided to remain silent. Because this is exactly what bitches want. They try to lock you out by provoking the shit out of you. And this is not even meant in like a romantic way, you actually falling for the opposite, like not opposite attract. Here, she is just trying to wear us out, by provoking us. I'm not gonna give her the satisfaction. I'm silent. Twisted arms aren't a great place to start a conversation. Quickly losing interest in me, she returned back to the squad and raised an eyebrow.
So what's the problem? Why haven't they been let through yet? I was following orders and checked the dog tags. Who knew she was needed? The general told me, but I decided something on your own. You need to have authority and brains. Who are you and who's the general? Ordinary orders don't apply to this unit. Do you really need that explained? Hey, you kid. You're going to relieve this idiot, okay?
She called out the young soldier who apparently hadn't yet recovered from the news of his comrade's death. He was standing in the distance looking down.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, you.
But Professor, he can barely hold a machine gun in his hands. You signed me here yourself. I was just following your orders. I did my best.
Ignoring the man's whining as if he wasn't there, Donovan looked questioningly at the young soldier. He looked around in confusion. He didn't know what to do and didn't understand what they wanted from him.
Move and let him inside quickly.
I felt my hands being freed. Greg and Dimitri stood on either side of me. Damn! Not letting the guards get any closer. Y'all, the author. Petty. The author is fucking petty. I did say they're trying to do whatever it takes. Because where is CAIN again? Where is he? No! Greg and Dimitri. Like two protective brothers standing on either side of us to make sure that we're let through. Nah. Y'all, I can't. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this. Like, I think that the author is petty. This is ridiculous. The rest of the squad finally passed through the city walls. Donovan, having smoked her hand-rolled cigarette all the way to the filter in one deep drag, threw it into a puddle. The flame hissed and then went out.
Follow me, guys. You're finally home.
I don't like her. I really don't. Beyond the gates was a small military camp consisting of a couple of barns and fortifications. We were led into a room that resembled a doctor's office. The medics quickly examined everyone and let the squad go. Only Dimitri remained inside. He needed more serious help. Inside Oxford, there was a foggy and gray as it was outside. The drainage systems weren't copying. The insistent rain filled the sewers to the top. I hope the rats living there won't climb to the upper floor. The majestic university building loomed ahead. Though one part of it now resembled a ruin, its beauty was still shrinking. Winter had faded into the background here, giving way to a gloomy and surprisingly joyless spring. Several abominations flew high in the sky, then disappeared into the rain. A second later, gunfire was heard outside the city walls. But I'm sorry, didn't we find out that gunshot wounds don't really hurt them or kill them? Why are they shooting at them? They're making it sound as if someone is actually capable to take them out by shooting at them. I looked around expecting to see panic on the others' faces, but no one looked scared.
It's okay, this patrol is clearing the perimeter.
Okay. Not far from the university, there was a small church. The sound of its bell diluted the insistent noise of the rain. Without saying a word, CAIN unexpectedly separated from us and walked toward its arched entryway. Let me come! I'm so sorry. Maybe he's looking for a piano. Looking back, he smiled faintly, as if he wanted to calm my anxiety with this one gesture and show that the city was safe even without him around. Y'all, the chemistry. He immediately turned around, making sure that we know that everything is gonna be okay. Y'all, the synchronicity that we have with CAIN, I think it's so cute. Bye. This is him actually mocking us. What you mean? Won't he keep going with us?
CAIN lives separate from the rest of the squad.
Maybe this is where he spent his childhood? I don't think so, girl. They were in heaven. I suddenly felt someone's sensitive gaze on me. A man dressed in a pastor's robe was peering out from the shadows of the church. His hands were clasped behind his back, and his face was covered in darkness. Why is it always the priests in the story doing shit? Why is it always the priests? He's probably waiting for CAIN meeting the squad. Oh yeah, I was talking about? Then I need to talk to him as soon as possible. Maybe I should find out a little more about him from the others first. Y'all, I'm sorry. I just need to put this in here. I just love how our character is like just putting in the idea that we should just follow someone. Like in this story in general, like everyone can turn out to be a threat to you, a danger to you. But they don't actually make us more intelligent. No. They make us more stupid, as in the more something seems to be dangerous, the more we feel the need to go there. And it's so funny to me, because at this point I can't even blame or main character. No, I need to blame the author, because this is stupidity repeating itself on a constant loop. Get your shit together, ma'am. Or sir, whatever. I wanted to make out his features, but a sharp gust of wind made me close my eyes, and when I opened them, he was gone. I can't do everything at once. The church was a short distance away from Adam. We soon entered the base territory. A courtyard that once belonged to university students opened up before us. It looked like a set for a tragedy. The building's Gothic spires towered overhead, crushing with their gloomy grandeur, and the elongated rose-colored windows reflected the oppressive gray clouds. We entered one of the passages. Inside, the university had a special smell, as if it existed outside of time, the rain rising centuries old dust from the ground. I ran my hand over the stone walls, feeling their damp surface. The squad began to disperse little by little, with some stepping out along the way, going to other buildings. I took in the enchanting appearance of the university, and did not pay attention to what was happening around me. When I came to my senses, I found myself in a dark corridor, completely alone. You see, people did not give a damn about us. They didn't even care to let us know that they're leaving, you know? Everyone left. I think someone mentioned a spare room. I'm sorry. Her outfit? Slay. In front of me was one of the many identical doors. Grabbing the handle, I went inside. We're gonna get lost. The first thing I saw were huge stained glass windows, which brought some color to the cold room. I'm sorry, but if no one gives a damn where we are, why can't we just go back outside and look for CAIN? I'm sorry. Like, let's just get on the top bunk, you know, like, just on top of the, you know, on top of the world, like, upstairs. Like, let's get on the roof, sit down, and be like, CAIN, you wanna talk? I lifted my head up and looked at the large opening leading into an adjacent room. There was a big old bed there. It was as creaky and decrepit as everything around it, but it had a special charm. I went to the center of the room and plopped down on a chair with relief. Finally, they left me alone. I can't believe it. Amen, sis. Amen. Here I can work on the book in silence as much as I want. I just need to take care of the order and the pages as soon as possible. Without them, I can't move forward. There was a knock at the door. Come in? Greg and Anna entered the room, carrying paper bags that emanated a pleasant aroma.
So this is where you're going to stay. It's nice here. There's even some light.
Greg looked around and then collapsed on the sofa across from me as if owned the place. I'm sorry. We just said, oh, finally we're alone. A second later, someone comes in. Oh, her outfit is kind of cute.
It's strange this room is empty. Although we were gone for a long time, maybe everything has changed.
Moving books off the desk, Anna set down the bags and took food out from them one by one.
Greg ran to the dining room first. You know, he's always hungry.
Amen, sis.
But we thought about it and decided to take dinner with us. You're probably hungry too, but you'd refuse to eat it in here. Everyone new gets stared at, and you're not a fan of extra attention. They even ruined my appetite.
Damn, Greg! I smiled faintly and looked at the desk. Ooh, dinner for 3! I can't. Anna and Greg tried to tell me as much as possible about the base, which floors had the worst toilets, where the floor was in bad shape, and what time one could grab an extra portion in the cafeteria. Listening to them, I forgot that a ruined world was waiting for us outside the walls of the room. They laughed, slapped each other on the hand, not wanting to share an extra piece, and were happy that they were finally home. Is it home, though? Their mood rubbed off on me. I became more and more interested in each successive story they told as I began connecting more to this place. Everything stopped seeming alien, unfamiliar, and incomprehensible. It became an easy arrangement of rooms and people that I could figure out on my own. I only had to figure out one detail. Where are your rooms?
Mine is in a similar corridor, but in the building next door, and Greg lives near the gym. It's a small closet that barely fits him. She's just jealous. Don't pay her any mind.
I would never dare. Never dare. Like, if I could choose, between Anna and Greg, I would go with Greg. You know, with someone that I would rather be from two people that I can stand, you know? Greg rolled his eyes and chuckled. The realization that no one would be with me made my soul feel empty. Is there anyone living here on my floor? Anna and Greg exchanged glances.
Simone, are you worried?
It's a normal question. What makes you think that? Anna smiled conspiratorially and quickly stood up. She sat down next to me on the chair. She handed me her candy bar. She looked at me with a grin. You know what? Give me a candy bar because I want one.
Take it since you're anxious. You could use some sugar.
It seemed like a reasonable offer, and I gratefully accepted the sweet treat. We sat together for a while longer, and then they left for their rooms. I mean, do we know where a room is? Silence took over. Looking around tiredly at the empty space, I pondered whether I should try to sleep or work on the book. A metal locker with a lock caught my eye. Interesting. Getting up, I went over to it. I tried to open it, but the door wouldn't budge. I needed a code. Several random combinations didn't work. Path of high adaptability. Thinking again, I entered the number of the room I was in, and the locker opened. Yeah, it was such a simple password, they would hardly keep anything valuable here. Inside were some teen magazine clippings, a battered first aid kit, and some hairpins. Taking them, I looked at myself in the mirror hanging on the door. Pining up the strands of hair near my face looked cute. A new hairstyle has been added to your wardrobe. Oh, cute. Taking out the clippings, I quickly looked through them. There were pointless tests, articles about relationships, and irrelevant fashion tips. Oh, cute. I wonder who lived here before me. I can't imagine who would keep such useless things under lock and key. Damn. Putting the papers back, I closed the locker. The bed stood on a platform at a far end of the room. I took a few steps and stood next to it, examining the area. There were several sets of clean clothes lying near the pillow. The sheets smelled fresh and were only slightly damp. After putting the things away, I pulled off the bedspread and shook out the thick blanket. The bed itself was dry, and the linen was pleasant to touch. After Rotkop's sleep on the road was unbearable, finally I will be able to rest properly. I didn't want to go to bed dirty. Remembering the shared shower that we passed on the way to my room, I glanced at the clean sets of clothes. After trying on a couple, I picked out what I wanted to change into. Let's go with this one. They all look kinda strange to me. I need to hide the test tube somewhere. The guard's carelessness had saved me during the gate inspection. Seeing that they would be inspecting all of our things, I tore a sheet of paper out of my notebook and wrapped the test tube in it. Then I put it in the pocket where I usually kept my pen. The soldier had quickly looked over my notes and didn't notice anything strange. I got lucky then, but where should I put it now? Put it in the locker. I noticed a small thermos on the desk. I opened it and checked to see that it was empty. Then I put the test tube inside. I should have gotten to the shower room before the oppressive twilight finally fell on the city. Taking the things I had chosen, I left my room. It was dark and quiet outside. I wanted to run away from the lonely shower on my floor. The dark, gloomy walls and the cold didn't make it cozy. All my fears lurked in the shadowy corners. It was hard to imagine this room being used. Maybe I made a mistake? And they were talking about another floor? Deciding to check if there was water here, I went to the faucet and grabbed the hot water handle. No, that's right, this is the room. On the sink, I noticed several candles and a box of matches lying nearby. As soon as the candles were lit, the room was transformed. All right. After taking off my clothes and carefully folding them by the sink, I stepped into the shower hall. The cold tiles unpleasantly stung my feet right up until the warm water cascaded from above. Standing under the floor, I ran my hand through my wet hair. The water trickled down my face, washing away all the dirt that had accumulated over the journey. Steam rose up around me. The water enveloped me completely. With pleasure, I gave myself over to it and banished all the oppressive thoughts from my mind. I liked how water felt different in different places. It conveyed the emotions, mood, and atmosphere of the place it was in. Through it, one could intuitively understand those small details that are felt but impossible to describe. Water never lied. Here in Adam, it felt hard and smelled like cleaning chemicals more than I would have liked, but it was still clear and clean. It was almost the same at Siberia. Leaning with one hand on the wall, I hung my head, exposing it to the flow of water. Now that I had something to lose, my heart was gripped by fear. I'm afraid that I won't be able to translate the book. Who cares about the book? To be left alone again? Yes, that those who want to interfere will appear again. I don't understand that. But honestly, I'm scared to be left alone, just to put it in here. A whole crowd knows about my mission. That worries me. Now, the cultists are everywhere now. There's no guarantee they won't come for the book again. But it's not just that. What if I get stuck and can't move forward? What if I can't find the order in the pages? Maybe they don't exist anymore. Maybe they were burned or destroyed. In that case, I'll be useless. I'll lose my significance again. And more importantly, I'll never get to the truth. When I was growing up, I started seeing people as codes. I was looking for the loopholes I could use to track them and get into their hearts, to decipher and break each one down into an understandable pattern and then use them. People were like programs, each performing its own function with its own set of tools. Each was important and necessary for something, and I couldn't get any peace from the fact that I could no longer find the right key to understand myself. Wanting to shake off these unpleasant thoughts, I hit the wall with feeling. The scar on my hand ached. Scratching my wrist, I noticed how the water under my feet quickly turned black. What the hell is that? Black liquid flowed into the drain straight from my hand. I panicked. I tried to stop it, grabbing the scar and covering it with my palm. The water cleared up. Slowly, I unclenched my fingers. I looked at my hand again. The scar was fine. Did I imagine that? At this point, I would have to say I have the feeling we're infected. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, we are actually just responding to, like, that darkness that is being exposed inside of you the second that you can't help yourself but to allow yourself to become an abomination. Like you losing control over yourself, losing control over the situation. Like abominations, they have nothing to do with their former lives. So when when she looks at her scar, when her scar aches, it's a kind of like her darkness, as in the darkness that got injected into her palm, comes to life somehow. I don't know how to explain it. That scar is kind of like the gateway. Thunder rumbled outside. Lightning struck very close, illuminating the entire room for a second, as if it were midday. I had no desire to linger in the shower. Quickly washing away a soapy lather, I turned off the water and wrapped myself in a towel. What about shoes? I had to wipe my feet with my dirty clothes and boot my boots on. When I got out of the shower, I pulled back the curtain and froze. What? How's the water? What are you doing here? The professor stood leaning against the sinks. She crossed her arms over her chest and smiled in her usual slightly impudent manner. Well, I just wanted to chat with you. Relax, I don't bite. I don't like her. Water dripped from my hair, soaking into the towel, leaving unpleasantly cold trails. Just like always, the professor chose an opportune moment when her subject is at their most vulnerable. She blocked my pile of clothes with her body, and while she didn't say it out loud, she clearly wasn't going to give them to me at that moment. I'd like to clear up a few things. I need to know everything that goes on inside these walls. Taking a cigarette from her pocket, she lit it using a nearby candlestick. Taking a deep drag, she exhaled a gray stream of smoke toward the ceiling. I smelled a pleasant medicinal aroma. Melissa, lemon balm. Do you want some? I don't. That's a shame. I'm crazy about them. They're the only thing that saves me. You know, when I was leaving the base, the collapse caught up with me. A wave of snow hit my snowmobile, covered it while it was moving. I couldn't free it, but I somehow got out. I wandered through the forest for about 3 days, hoping to get to the city. I almost froze to death. I can't feel anything down there anymore. I started to shiver from the cold. The professor noticed but said nothing. Sometimes Donovan's jaw twitched as if she had a nervous tic she couldn't control. No children, no pleasure. Oh, so she can't conceive anymore? Okay. She sighed and stubbed out her cigarette. How did you survive, you damn bastard? You've got your arms and legs in your face. She came closer and roughly grabbed my chin. Excuse me? I'm sorry, I would have smacked her. Excuse you? What right do you have to touch me? After examining my head, she yanked my towel off and took it as she backed away. What are you doing? Turn around. I was surprised to find that I felt no shame for my naked body, and the professor's domineering act only slightly irritated me. I had to turn around and allow her to satisfy her curiosity. I see. You really do look fine. And how is your head? You seem kind of slow, and you don't react to stimuli. The professor handed me my clothes. To my surprise, there was more than what I'd brought with me. What's this? A gift. Half of our corridors have cracks and holes. I walk around here in light clothes. She stopped abruptly at the door. Rest today and start working tomorrow. When Donovan left, I put on clean clothes and looked at what she brought to me. That's pretty good. There. Gathering up my dirty clothes, I looked at myself in the broken shower mirror before heading out into the hallway. That woman is nuts. My footsteps echoed throughout the huge building, thunder rumbled in the distance, and the rain didn't stop for a second. The only source of light was a hole in the corridor wall. While walking past it, I decided to stop. Standing on the very edge, I looked down. A gust of wind immediately caught my hair. Stretching out my hand, I felt a pleasant tingling from the cold drops on my skin. The air was fresh and soft. Not at all as pricky as in Rotkov. There wasn't a soul in the yard. Or rather, that's how it seemed at first. Not far from the church stood a beautiful, majestic winged statue, which I mistook for a sculpture. Oh, my child! Talk to him, you little bitch! CAIN stood in the pouring rain, soaking wet and standing absolutely still. I feel like this is gonna be some Lucifer's shit. You know, like he realizes he has fallen, but he doesn't want to be someone that has fallen, you know. He did some fucked up shit, and he tried to never actually think about it, because thinking about it actually means that he will have to accept reality. And reality is that he lost himself after what happened in his past. Like, he lost who he is. Like who he wanted to be. Now he turned into this dark version of himself that he doesn't really like, that he doesn't understand, and he fears of what he could do, like in his worst moments. And like looking at the statue, I know we're talking about with the statue, we're talking about CAIN, but he's looking at the church, and the church is knowing, and a church is known for praying to God. So this man actually lost his faith. He lost his faith, not only in God, but in himself too. So he doesn't even feel that he is worthy enough right now to go into the church. And that is so sad. It was unclear what he was watching or doing in the rain. After standing at the end for a while longer, I decided not to linger in the cold and moved on. Go to him, you little bitch! Almost at the end of the passage, Pylon came down to me from the darkness of the vaults like a bat.
So someone else has finally settled here.
Do you live here too?
Not to me. But that's not the point now. You remember a little agreement, right?
Oh, finally. It's been like many episodes.
You promised to get me something.
The demon loomed over me. He walked almost as silently as CAIN. Pylon disappeared into the darkness of the hallway, then reappeared very close. I remember. I never found out from Anna what exactly was in that vial. When she injected Ania with it, I thought it might be some kind of medicine. You agreed to deal with Pylon and stole the vial from Anna, yes. How safe is it to give Pylon what he wants? But there's no turning back. I'm a thief, and repentant or not, it doesn't matter. A series of doors appeared ahead. The first one led to my room. I haven't forgotten. Wait here, I'll put my clothes down and bring it.
But you've got the wrong door. This isn't yours.
Looking at the room number, I glanced at him in confusion. No, this is the right one. Stay here. I opened the door, but Pylon was suddenly behind me. An uneasy feeling washed over me. The demon flew into the room and looked around. What?
What the? Whose things are these? Where's Ada?
Somehow everything we'd left on the train ended up in here. Maybe Donovan ordered it to be brought in? Pylon jumped over to me, looming menacingly. It looked as if his black curls began moving like dark tongues on flame.
Where's the demoness who lived here before you?
So that's who collected the clippings. I don't understand what you're talking about. When I came into the room, it was already empty. Wanting to get him out as quickly as possible, I grabbed the thermos. Taking out the test tube, I thrust it into his hand. That's what we agreed on. Now go away. Clutching the glass, Pylon burst out of the room and rushed down the hallway in a whirlwind. Stop. Stop. Don't tell me. Perhaps he had a lover, and he needs that test tube, I don't know, in order to heal her? I mean, I never saw it, / we never saw it, but is it possible that immortals can also be infected and turn into abominations? Because from what I know, up until this point, we only saw that humans turned into abominations. But that doesn't mean that immortals are an exception. And maybe that test tube, like, I don't know, makes them immune, heals them a little bit or something. Like, and he needed that in order to, like, save his love. And his love was, like, here already behind these walls. And that's why he was so upset when we said that no one was here. Knocking down every door, he frantically searched for someone, but every room was empty. Looking out into the corridor, I watched him with alarm.
Even our things are gone.
Yes, no one was here. You got what you wanted. Can you leave now? You're attracting unnecessary attention. He stopped and drooped. Then suddenly he turned toward me, his gaze crazed and furious. Huh? Are all of them... Oh my god, what did I say? What? Y'all. At this point, we even need to be worried about Pylon. Pylon losing his shit too. He needed this for his lover, but she gone.
Without her, this is meaningless.
Enraged, he practically roared. He lost control and rushed along the walls, rapidly approaching me. The fuck? Just then, a pale silhouette knocked him down, pinning him to the floor. Droops of rain splashed on me, flowing from the angel's white wings. CAIN! CAIN! Oh! I'm sorry. You want me not to fucking, want to jump this man? You actually expect me not to desire this man? I mean, ignoring the fact he's fine as fuck. But you be telling me this man outside in the pouring rain, how the fuck did he know that he needed to come here in order to save us now? Wasn't he listening? As in, wasn't he, like, trying to listen in on us, like, hearing our voice? I don't know. Like, in order to make sure that we're all right, or if perhaps we were looking for him, or if we needed something that he was just, like, gonna be capable to immediately be there. Like, he's outside, / he was outside. He was outside in the pouring rain, being lost in his train of thoughts, and the second he hears our voice, and he heard Pylon's roar, he immediately came to us. Immediately. Not giving a damn. I'm in love with this man. I love him so hard. And his red eyes, god damn it, this man is upset. He's upset. He's like, Pylon, you dare to touch my lady? Bitch?
Are you okay?
Yes. Seeing my frightened expression, CAIN pressed the demon harder to the floor. What did I say were his weak point? I'm in love with this, y'all. I'm so in love with this. He's like, but you tried to hurt my lady? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? You want to die? Like, the more he sees how frightened we are, the more he's upset at Pylon because he knows he's the reason for it. I'm in love with CAIN. In love. He growled gutturally, but there were barely perceptible notes of pain in his voice.
Calm down. Don't interfere.
What do you want from me? Like, I'm not the one that actually shoved your lady out of this room. Pylon desperately beat his wings. The claws at the ends dug into CAIN's wings, leaving behind bloody cuts.
What happened?
Holding Pylon back, CAIN endured all his attempts to break free. CAIN is a menace, y'all. He's a fucking menace. He's like, bitch, are you gonna stop? I'm not gonna let you go. Because I can't trust you fucking self around her right now. You need to shut the fuck up, and you need to tell me what's going on. Without fighting him back, CAIN only made sure he didn't do anything worse. Bye! He was looking for someone named Ada. CAIN looked around the room and sighed quietly.
Now I understand.
Huh? Ania flew through the door, worried. She was in such a hurry that she stumbled before she could stop in time. Breathing heavily, she stared at the two immortals but didn't dare say anything. Huh? Is it her? Taller shadows appeared behind her. Donovan, with a couple of soldiers and some members of the squad. It seemed the entire base heard Pylan's hysteria. I mean, he was hysterical.
What are you doing here?
Anna stepped forward. Her expression, the same as one the last day in Rotkov, made me shudder. Stepping on the immortal's wrist, she snatched the test tube from his hands.
Well, how did he end up with this?
Donovan followed Anna's gaze, then closed the distance between us and a couple of steps, raising her hand to slap me. Excuse you. Path of the Devil's Whisper, period. But I slapped her hand away so aggressively that the professor crawled her wrist and automatically stepped back, period. You stay the fuck where you are. I think I'm about to lose it. You're not coming in here smacking me after you actually helped contribute to us being tortured. You stay where the fuck you are. You're gonna stay at the end. Just give me a reason. Rage, resentment, and spite were bursting out of me. My patience was at its limit. Period. Finally. Snap. Pop, sis. Smack them all. Noticing my condition, Donovan decided not to press any further and retreated.
Do you know how many people have died at the hands of immortals? Your family, they're from America, right? It wasn't the wave that killed them. It was creatures like them.
She pointed her finger at the clashing immortals. The squad was staring at me. Each look was filled with condemnation, confusion, and quiet contempt. What? You have something else to say? What? The relationship with the squad and each of its members individually was badly damaged. I'm laughing in order not to actually insult every single one of them. I'm supposed to feel bad now that I took that tube, even though I have no fucking idea what it is. But in general, it doesn't matter what it is. You have no fucking right, first off, to smack me. Second off, to actually be upset here. Because they actually expect us to be decent human beings, yet they don't have the fucking balls in order to shut the fuck up. Like, they need to stay where they are. Like, y'all, actually, at the end of this episode, like, honestly, if you all don't give me a reason, like, to continue playing, I'm gonna stop this story because I'm getting high blood pressure. The story is making me mad. Like, there's not one person in this story that is actually worthy of staying for besides CAIN. And we get CAIN, like, I don't know, 5% from 100% in one season. Not with me today, my good sis. Breaking away from CAIN, Pylan glared at the professor.
Where is Ada? What have you done to her? This is her room.
Is Pylan worried about someone? Not seeing the situation he's in? I mean, at this point, everything is against him, and yet he keeps talking to everyone as if his word means something.
So that's what's going on? You say your efforts were in vain. Nothing can help her now. Ada never returned from her first mission. What?
No one spoke except the professor and the demon. Everyone froze watching the dialogue unfold.
You're still a child. You wouldn't take her. What nonsense. She would never. She would never what? Leave you alone.
His sister, maybe? Pylan opened his mouth but couldn't squeeze a word out.
She never left you. You did.
Damn. Like, telling him he's a bad person without telling him he's a bad person. She actually... No, I'm sorry. Like, I need to cut her some slack because I love her bitch-ass attitude. She's like, bitch, she never left you. You left her. What are you complaining about if she's not here now?
If you wanted to protect her so much, you would have done everything to return from the mission sooner. You wouldn't have found a book. You wouldn't have left a stone unturned. But somehow I doubt that someone like you is capable of that. You expected everything to be done for you and hoped that you would act the same way here. The child turned out to be braver than you, Pylan. You forced her to. You abandoned her.
She went closer to him and leaned in so that her half-whisper sounded as irradiating as his own inner voice.
You are to blame for her death.
Oh, now she's getting a little too overboard. She's getting too overboard. Like, you should never ever tell someone that they're responsible for someone that they truly care about to die. Observing what was happening, it was hard to determine who the real demon was. The man with the red wings or the manipulative tyrant trapped in a human form. Damn! Pylon fell silent. He no longer moved or kicked. CAIN let him go and stood up. The dark figure on the floor continued to lie there. Striking a match against a matchbox, Donovan lit another cigarette. Her face twitched nervously again. I'm sorry, I just think it's hilarious. Every single time she's like lighting a cigarette, she's like, God damn it, you know what? I always say I need a little bit of alcohol. Like, ironically, I don't actually drink alcohol. You can see it as me being addicted to like coffee. Like, I need some coffee. I can't deal with this thing, with all this bullshit sober. Okay? This is hilarious. Every single time she thinks a situation is too dramatic, she says, I need to lit a cigarette. Like, you are being too dramatic, bitches.
That's enough. Disperse.
And Nia knelt down and lifted Pylon's head. It looked like transparent tracks glistened on his cheeks. Yeah, he crying. Throwing his arm over her shoulder, she slowly pulled him out of the room. The squad watched them with empty expressions until their figures finally disappeared down the corridor. Soon there was no one left in the room except Greg, who took it upon himself to help me. Together we cleaned the floor with rags. CAIN had left almost immediately, leaving only a red trail behind him. His wings! I didn't even have time to thank him. Greg silently wrung out the rag and wiped away the remaining stains. Looking at him with interest, I decided to ask the question that was tormenting me. Why are you helping me? Aren't you angry like the others?
Of course I am.
Greg stopped and looked at me with irritation. Then he exhaled, forcing himself to cool down, and continued. Excuse you?
But we all make mistakes.
Ugh. For some reason, his words made me feel better. Again, y'all. To a specific degree, I can get on board with Greg again. Okay? I can. Because, again, here, we didn't have to pay, like, gems or anything for this man to actually feel the need to, like, apologize. It's not really an apology, but this is him realizing that he fucked up in the past. And that's everything I want. Like, just showing that you are a human being. Everyone makes mistakes. I agree. And sometimes, again, desperate times call for desperate measures. So, of course, you can control sometimes if you're acting like a huge-ass bitch or not. Like, mistakes can happen. We're all imperfect. So, it's all right. But at least show that you're a decent human being. You fucked up. You let the reality of the situation sink in. You realize that you've done bad. And then you apologize to the person. In my eyes, it's not difficult. Like, it shouldn't be difficult for you to realize that you fucked up, you grow the balls, you go to the person, you apologize, and then time will heal. Like, if you actually get proper closure and you get an apology from that person, with time, the anger you feel inside and the resentment you have toward that person because of what they did, it will lessen. And then you will be capable to move on together. Like, he says he's angry, fine. I don't know why he's angry, maybe because of the vial or whatever. But he's like, yes, I'm angry because of what happened with the vial, but everyone makes mistakes. Thoughts? He's like, I fucked up too, and you decided to give me a second chance. So who am I to say something? Yes, I'm on board with Greg. I really am. I think I'm gonna stand him again this episode. Greg quietly summed up his thoughts as he wiped up the blood.
I don't think you knew what you were agreeing to, or why no mortal needed the substance. And if you had no one else to turn to, you can't be blamed.
Really? Look at this. Look at this man actually being reasonable.
If we were closer back then, who knows, maybe you wouldn't have made a deal with a demon.
Are we hearing this? Are we hearing this? Alright, y'all, I never thought I would say this. But I've forgiven Greg. I've forgiven Greg. I really have. Because he did what Anna and Dimitri were incapable of. Realizing that they were bitches in the past and that they are also doing fucked up shit, hurting people in their path. And they were incapable to apologize. They see that everything they do is for the greater good. And if they step on someone else, doesn't matter. But if someone is stepping on them, they get the allowance, they get the permission to smack you. No. Greg is the only one from everyone that was like taking part of all that bullshit to come here and to apologize. We didn't even ask him to apologize nor anything. He did this out of his own. He apologized. He was like, yeah, I don't think you knew what was in that vial. And even if you would have known, you were all alone back then. Can I be mad at you if you felt the need to make a deal with the devil? Can I blame you? You were all alone. You didn't think there was anyone out there that truly cared about you, or someone that you can just go to in order to like seek advice or something because of what we did to you. How can I say that I actually am mad at you for resorting to those methods when I literally gave you no other option in order for you to feel the need to do something that you knew you could regret? I like that. I'm on board with Greg again. Never thought I'd say this. I'm on board with him. When we finished cleaning, Greg left and I collapsed on the bed thinking that I'd only rest for a minute. I barely managed to open my eyes. The monotonous sound of rain that woke me seemed somehow too loud. How much time has passed? Rising from the bed, I met the gaze of a black raven sitting on the headboard, silently watching me. How did you get here? There was an unusual white spot on his wing that stood out unnoticeably. The raven has such intelligent eyes. We looked at each other for a while. The bird's dark pupils gave me peace. The curtains fluttered, and I realized what had happened. I jumped out of the bed and ran barefoot to the windows. Did the rain knock it open? Realizing that I wanted to close the window, the raven leaped off the bed and flew out. Watching him, I happened to notice the robes of a pastor praying at a statue near the monastery. Apparently, it's not that late. Then I better find out everything about the order right now. Taking the book, I hid it in my suitcase. Then I checked my notebook to see if the order symbol was still there. Everything was in place. Throwing on my coat, I left the room. The night was cold. Hesitant to go out in the rain, I looked around. Someone had probably left a flashlight and several umbrellas by the stairs. Maybe some soldier ran on duty here. Taking one, I headed toward the church. The doors were unlocked, but there was no one inside. The candles lit up the small room. The flames fluttered in the wind, creating a strange atmosphere of some alien presence in the church. After closing the umbrella and placing it at the entrance, I walked inside. There were two easels on either side of the altar. A thin stripe of light stretched along one of them. I walked closer until I saw a half-closed door behind which came the sound of water. CAIN's wings flashed through the crack. The water was washing off the scarlet color of them. Deciding to wait for him on the bench, I stepped back. Oh! I can't escape this bitch. Can't escape this bitch. She knows everything.
It's too late. I already saw your confused face in the mirror. Say what you came to say.
I need to ask the pastor something, but he's nowhere to be found.
What?
I guess he can't hear me because of the water. I walked closer and repeated myself louder. He was silent for a while and said,
Are you here? I can't hear you.
Go into the shower! He's in the shower! I'm sorry about the option. Go into the shower.
Alright, y'all. I think I need to add this in here before I continue. I had to put a stop in yesterday. I don't know what happened. My voice was gone. So I just need to add it in here because normally I would have been capable to publish 2 episodes already. But I was with
my sister from Friday to Saturday, so I couldn't record. And when I tried to record on Saturday, when I got home, like, there were some family issues, so, like, I really am so sorry, like, I couldn't continue to record, but I'm back. So, let's see this hot scene that everyone kept on freaking out about. Go into the shower. I think it's hilarious that this is even an option. Like, in my eyes, normally it's an invasion of privacy, or is it just me? Or is she just talking about going into the man's bathroom? You know, it doesn't mean that you're immediately in their bath stall, you know? I opened the door and went inside. CAIN turned around and looked at me in surprise. Honestly, I don't think I would have been capable to do this in real life, because maybe the shame, or maybe just the fear of putting the other person in, like, an uncomfortable situation, like, position. So I don't think I would have been capable to actually go into their bathroom / into their bath stall. I would have either asked them for permission if I could come in, or I would have waited until they come out, like, dressed in a level that makes them feel comfortable being in front of me. I'm sorry, you're trying to tell me that this man is showering with his pants on? Or didn't the author have the time to, like, design him in a different way? He stood in the center of the room. Pink water splashed under his bare feet as it went down the drain, like sun. Why didn't you ask for help? I mean, at this point, I would have to put something in here. This man is just like me. Like, I refuse to ask for help even though I know that I need it. I mean, there are situations where I don't mind to immediately ask for help, but in general, I'm too proud, because I feel like in general, I was capable to accomplish very little in my life. I'm 22 now, and I feel like if I keep on asking for help, I'm never gonna be capable to achieve anything. Like, never be capable to help other people out. Like, I don't want to feel like a charity case. Like, everyone needs to come in here and help me out, and I'm not capable to accomplish anything by myself. Like, I'm always depending on other people, when I want other people to also depend on me sometimes. So I get why he didn't ask, but with all this blood in my eyes, he needs help. I hope his wounds heal quickly. My gaze fell to his bare, chiseled torso, and I quickly looked away. Unlike my shower at Adam, there was a lamp burning, and it was easy to see every corner. I said I was looking for the pastor.
Gabe, why do you need him?
He probably knows how to find the order. So he does know him personally. Last I thought, CAIN dosed his wings, forgetting that I was nearby. Trying to avoid getting splashed, I stepped aside and slipped. Ooh! CAIN easily caught me, preventing me from falling. He grabbed my waist and pressed me closer. Don't make me squeal. Don't make me squeal. It's early. The water from the shower head, aimed directly at him, soaked my clothes. Oops. You are not sorry. Stop pretending like you are. You are not sorry. You wanted our clothes to be splashed. I tried to break free. He lowered the shower head, but didn't release his hold. I mean, at this point, bitch, you're already wet, so, like... What are you trying to run away from? You will still need to change into other clothes. He leaned toward me with a venomous smile.
This is for Pylon to go to the demon when I was there.
Ooh! A possession? Hashtag? I mean, son, you didn't really ask if we needed help, but I can't. He was actually like, I'm soaking your clothes, even though I knew you didn't want to, because you actually had the fucking audacity to go to this bitch when you could have come to me. Bye. The possessiveness. The possessiveness.
And to agree to his terms. How stupid of you.
No, y'all, but I'm sorry. ignoring like that this is like a fucking hot scene in my eyes, because in my eyes the situation is insanely intense. Like, he's splashing our clothes, he's holding us by the waist, he's not actually harming us or nothing. He's actually holding us close, as in he's holding us tight because he was worried about us. He is worried. He was like, how stupid of you to go to that demon when I was there. I mean, CAIN is not really a demon. Like, he has angel wings, but he's showing more like demon personality traits, as in like all this bullshit that we learned like in Heaven's Secret, where it's viewed that angels are all like these cutie pies and demons are like the only ones driven by desire, being impulsive, etc. But I did so many analyses about that in Heaven's Secret too, so I'm not gonna get deeper into that here. But the point is, he's like, you made a deal with the devil, technically, because he knows Pylon, and probably he also knows what he's capable of. And when he heard Pylon's roar, I assumed that he was capable to figure out where he was, and then he was worried about us. He was like, how stupid could you have been to go to an actual demon and make a pact with the devil? You could have come to me, because I sure as hell know that I wouldn't want something in return from you. You could have come to me and asked for me, even though he seems annoyed a lot of the time when we go to him and ask him for things, but he gives it to us. Like, we ask him for information, etc. He shows his annoyance, but he's still willing to help us. He's still willing to be there for us as moral support. Meanwhile, Pylon actually wanted something from us. But I assume the circumstances forced it, because he was like insanely angry at Pylon. And maybe, I mean, I was fine with it, but a lot of people in my comment section were like, yeah, I'm scared of CAIN right now because of his outburst. So maybe the circumstances forced it. We thought that CAIN wouldn't help us, even though he was always willing to help us. And we were desperate in that situation, so we were actually willing to make a deal with the devil.
I suspected it, but I really didn't want to believe that you had decided to go behind my back.
Excuse me, what? Why do you think that's us going behind your back? You knew too little.
So did Pylon satisfy your curiosity?
What exactly are we talking about? Are we talking about sex, or are we talking about the book? Because the way he's actually saying it, like, he mad. Not completely. He chuckled and let me go. Turning away, he said only,
Results are all that matter. Bravo, you found the shortest path to reach the goal.
Oh, wow. Nah, he's not only worried, he's hurt. Because there was like this chemistry and like this connection that we were building with CAIN in the meanwhile. And us actually going to Pylon because we thought that CAIN didn't know enough actually hurts him. Because he's like, I was there for you since the get-go, and you decided to like just betray me and go to someone else when I was there for you the entire time, not asking for anything in return, as in I wasn't enough back there. I wasn't enough for you. That hurt him. Again, he's not saying what he's thinking. His voice is cold, even as he pretends to praise me. Girl, you know that he's pretending. Then just use your brain, your intelligence, your maturity, and tell him that everything he's saying is bullshit. You don't think that, do you?
What makes you say that?
Everything about you, son. Everything. It's obvious. Your behavior is betraying what you say. That's like the easiest way to find out if someone is actually saying what they truly feel. He says, bravo, you were capable to achieve your goal. I'm so proud of you. But he's saying it in a cold voice, and that's betraying that he's not actually thinking that. He's like, bravo, you went behind my back in order to get something out of a huge ass bitch, but at the end of the day, you still didn't achieve anything, and what you did in the end was hurting me and kind of breaking my trust in you, sort of. He paused and looked over his shoulder at me. The look in his red eyes burned everything inside me. I love it when his eyes are red, y'all. Condemn me, I don't care.
Why did you lie to me and not him?
Oh, wow. See what I said? See what I did there? You see the analysis? He raised his head, water ran down his torso, and he turned away again. Staring at him, I couldn't find anything to say just then.
I don't like pointless conversations. If you want to keep quiet, it's better to leave me alone.
Wow. CAIN is angry that you trusted Pylon. Yes! Because maybe he knows what Pylon is capable of. We don't know. But if you ask me, this with making a pact with the devil is actually a thing. So like demons are actually capable to do that. If you don't fulfill your end of the bargain, they have like this sort of power over you to ask you to do anything they want. Meanwhile, angels don't have that. So that's like the thing that makes Pylon dangerous in that matter. Not that CAIN wouldn't be capable to actually force someone to do something, you know, like him, not him as a person, but in general, an angel. Angels can be capable to like force someone to do something for them. But with Pylon, as he's a demon, I think there's like more this deeper connection. Like, just to put an example in here, like blood sacrifice and whatever. Like, it's binding. You can't back out from it. You almost killed me before that. Barely caught me so close to the ground. Remember? Ooh, we're bringing that up again.
Yes.
Where were you? At this point, this is like what's getting on my nerves. Where was he? If he doesn't have control over that and he suddenly just disappeared into nothingness, into thin air, it's not his fault. Like, if he's being called by his dark past or whatever, because you could see it in the moment before he disappeared and we fell to the ground almost. He didn't want to leave us because he knew what that meant, but he couldn't control it. So there has to be a logical explanation, because in our eyes, it doesn't seem that he's not capable, like, to control his powers. What he's not capable to control most of the time is his emotions. But he can control his powers. What he's scared of is like the darkness. And in my eyes, the angels can't just disappear into nothingness. So something maybe is calling him away from where he is because he or she wants something from him. And he can't avoid but going there because he's being called. He's being summoned, you know? I took a step toward him and he turned around, watching with interest to see how I'd get out of the situation. You betrayed my trust first. Why would that be betraying trust? I'm sorry, like, I don't get it, but oh well. Say what you want, girl. It would be foolish to trust only you after that. But in the end, I still chose this path. CAIN smiled with satisfaction. I felt his anger fade into the background. His gaze became curious and appraising. It was strange to see CAIN so sloppy and open. Wet strands of hair stuck to his forehead and neck. Drops ran down his torso and his muscles tensed. Turning off the water, he came closer to me. I took a step back and rested against the cross hanging behind me. Father, forgive, for I have sinned. I'm so sorry I had to.
I can't help myself. Why do I like this so much?
You like to be in control? Amen, sis. Because me too. Like, y'all, I think I need to add this in here as well. I said it many times in Song of the Crimson Nile. And that story is not put on hold, y'all. It will happen. I like to know that I have a power over someone, because it's very difficult to obtain that kind of power. Because normally, in general, we humans, we are proud. And if you actually can't avoid to actually give yourself up, as in you can't be proud in front of someone and you allow them to have power over you and for them to be capable to do whatever they want from you, whatever they want with you, and for them to be capable to ask you of anything they want, that's power. And I like to know that I have a power over them. Not that I would take advantage of that or anything, but because actually being capable to refer to the power, that's something that turns me on in my mind, because it's difficult to obtain. For you to actually know that you have power over someone. Like, just to put an example in here, like, there's like this connection, there's like this intense moment between the two of you is heating up, and the person in front of you would actually allow you to, just to put an example in here, to make out with them and then to have sex with them, because you have that much power over them. And no, it's not taking advantage or anything, but in general, in my eyes, it's hot to like look at the person in front of you, and they look at you with so much intensity, with so much hunger in their eyes, because they desire you to that extent. I think that's hot. He leaned a little closer to look me straight in the eyes. He touched a stray lock, then ran his hand through the rest of my hair. I am about to pass away.
You're close, you're here. All the details subtle intervene into one clear image. Hunger. Nothing superfluous. I've seen so many greedy glances directed at you, and you don't even notice them.
Ooh. That's him actually saying he's been watching us hungrily, but we are so, I don't know, with our heads somewhere else that we don't even notice it. He moved even closer. If I were to take a deep breath, my chest would touch his.
I like the words you choose, your facial expressions, and the topics that you're interested in.
Bye. I passed away.
Even the way you pause in your sentences.
I passed away. It happened.
But especially your sight. Not the one you look with, but the one you try to hide.
He's like, I know you be watching me, bitch. He knows you be following me. Hold up, that puts in a different perspective. Was this man ignoring us because he was trying to figure out why he likes us so much, why he likes to be around us so much?
And I like it when you succeed, when you make fools of me or others.
What? So he likes our determination to prove everyone wrong.
As you sink into your depths, you start to drowning in the mud, and then you realize there's another layer to it, and you dive even deeper.
CAIN traced my figure with his hand. I sighed heavily. My heart was beginning to pound. Just then, I already passed away. Stopping his hand at my waist, he lifted the edge of my sweater and stroked my skin. You said the people were just copies.
Back then, I only asked a question, but did it bother you?
Yes.
Do you want me to change my mind?
Yes. You can think whatever you want. At this point, like, this man trying to get a reaction out of us, and we just say, you know what, fuck you. She's like, if you want to think that I'm special, then I am. If not, I don't care.
Well, no, I think you're very attractive.
But what is attractive about us? CAIN pressed me even harder against the wall, and I felt the metal patterns digging into my back. His hand went a little higher, lifting my top and exposing my belly. When he slid his leg between mine, a sigh escaped me. I shouldn't be here. I need to push him away. Resist? No, you will not resist. I need to remember my goal. I shouldn't get carried away. Yes, you should, because it's been 84 years. I came for something else. He shook his head.
You started all this when you came in here.
That. Shut up. His hands closed around my waist and I arched unconsciously, exposing my bare neck to him.
You remind me of everything bad that happened, but I can't hate you.
Y'all, will they finally say that we have known each other?
It will be easier if I satisfy my curiosity.
He touched his lips to my temple. The tip of his nose traced my cheekbone. He pressed himself closer, leaving no distance between us.
You make me so angry.
Nope. This is the sexy way, you know? Like, this is the part to, like, no, this is like the power. When you say you make me crazy. Like, I like you as much as I hate you, you know? I hate to have to acknowledge the fact that you have so much power over me. Like, I allowed you in. You came into my mind with, I don't know, your opinion, your way of behaving towards others, like your pure soul, just to put an example in here, but also on the same time being savage, being sexy, being attractive, whatever, like being flirty, being teasing, etc. You came into my mind. I can't shake you off. And I hate to acknowledge how weak I become in your presence. That's the hotness. Then what are you doing now? You're making me angry too. CAIN narrowed his eyes. That's nice when the feelings are mutual. You make me crazy. Yeah, you make me crazy. This is literally what this is about. You don't make each other angry, you make each other crazy. You wanted to help me decipher it. What I needed always went against my true desires. Ooh-hoo! As soon as I saw myself in the reflection of his red eyes, everything inside me began to melt. I was ready to jump into the arms of the angel who looked like a devil, to plunge headlong into that pool. He poisoned me, but I got used to his poison and I'm waiting for a new dose. Now all of a sudden she's waiting for his dose. I wanted to get under his skin, merging with his beautiful angel and dissolving in his enchanting aroma. His hand stroked my hips and waist and then ran along my collarbones and neck, but it wasn't enough for me. It was a mad thirst for more, a frenzy, a sick obsession. It would be better if I didn't touch you. It could end badly. You mean you will leave traces? But what's terrible is that I'm ready to pay any price to touch you. Huh? Making me arc, he pulled my coat off and threw it on the sink. Left in just a wet t-shirt, I felt the cross digging into my back. Noticing this, CAIN pulled me toward him, brushed my hair out of the way and ran his hand along the hollow between my shoulder blades. Bye. Bye. What kind of picture is this? A red mark remained on my back. The angel outlined it with his hand, and a wave of shivers ran over my body. What a beautiful image. With it defiling you will be especially pleasant. He smiled hungrily, and I felt I no longer belonged to myself. When did we ever belong to ourselves? This man took everything away from us. What CAIN did to my mind would never compare to what he did to my body. One was inseparable from the other. By human standards, I should have been crucified long ago for my thoughts about you. What? That's actually something. Like, I just started Lucifer a few days ago, and Lucifer actually said to Ella, what? I need to give people reasons to go to confession. As in when you actually have sinful thoughts or you commit sins, you know? That's when you actually are viewed a sinner and you need to go to church in order to confess your sins and hope that God forgives you. And he actually is like, I should have been crucified long ago. You see, my desire exceeds ordinary feelings. I want to do with you what isn't customary to say out loud. Oh, please, tell me. I don't mind saying it out loud. I've read it so many times when I was reading like those sexy scenes with Malbonte in Heaven's Secret 2. He clasped his hands on my fragile fleshed neck, catching every greedy breath with his lips. He played with my life, and I looked into the eyes of my God. God. I empowered him, believed him, and surrendered myself completely to him. I wanted him. You corrupt my heart. True love was replaced by obsession. The more CAIN squeezed me in his arms, the more tenderness I felt. Our childhood wounds played jokes on us, somehow succumbing to sin. I felt more alive than ever. I knew that CAIN wouldn't harm me. This has nothing to do with like harming each other. This is like you actually being completely in love with each other. And the more love you feel for someone, the more to a specific degree, obsessed you become with that person. Like, obsessed is such a strong word, so I rarely use it. But to a specific degree, it can become an obsession. But when you actually use the word obsession, and it sounds like you're a psycho, being obsessed with someone you can't have. But when you use obsession with like your lover, it's not really viewed as obsession. Like, you just love each other to that point where you have the feeling that the love you have for each other continues to grow, and you don't understand how that's possible. He would do everything the way I liked it. CAIN knew what I liked because we were so similar. I'd recognize his hungry look out of 1,000. You see? You see? That's what I meant. That's the hotness. We both had to suppress our negative feelings, mask them, and pretend. Yes. What was locked inside began to rot and became distorted over time, taking the form of trauma. Y'all, what did I say? I don't need to say anything more to that, do I? The pain and sadness from it consumed other feelings. We could no longer feel in a regular way. The regular didn't evoke a response, seeming bland, insufficient, and boring. That was a curse, or addiction, or necessity. But what really brought us together and separated us from the other was hidden in something else. We accepted what others saw as a defect and a malfunction. Yes. Like, this is like something that a lot of people like just run away from, which is like so sad. We humans, we don't have power over if we get trauma/depression or not. And there are a lot of people that actually can't deal with that because they're scared that they have to accept that they are also some sort of depression. Yeah, okay. Like, people that actually are scared to be with people that are depressed are those that are in denial. They are denying their pain, and they have the feeling that the longer they stay around someone, then the more it is probable for them to actually get depressed themselves. All right? This has nothing to do with you like actually adapting to them and then you take some of their pain and some of their trauma. No. But sadly, a lot of people see depression as like a malfunction. You need to go to a mental institution. You need to be locked up. But you actually being in pain is not something that should be ridiculed, nor should you actually feel bad about it. Because every human being goes through trauma. Every human being has to suffer pain. Okay? Like, no one is an exception here. So, if I actually grow numb because of all the pain that I have to go through, then it's not my fault. Like, I deal with my pain this way. Because I would rather actually keep my pain away from you rather than actually hearing from someone else out there that I'm crazy or that I'm demented or something. It happens. And what all of you like were criticizing about CAIN, that's sadly how some people actually react to psychological pain. They are expressive about it, so that means that they actually become violent. But it's not because they actually want to be, it's because their pain reached a limit. And that's how they actually try to get the pain out of their system. But it's not supposed to be like someone saying that they're crazy or whatever. CAIN's face was right in front of me, and all that remained was to choose. Did I want to burn in that fire with him or not? Raising my hand, I placed my palm on his chest. I ran my fingers along his collarbone and through his silky blonde hair. Squeezing it, I pulled it back just a little. CAIN bared his teeth.
Finally, I thought you wouldn't touch me.
All we could do was touch our wounds over and again, running our hands. All we could do was touch our own wounds over and over again, running our hands over the scars on our hearts. That's so cute. Leaning forward, he touched my lips with his. My knees almost buckled. His wings spread out as if he were about to fly. To some extent, we both already were. Having lost my support, I ended up in his arms and hung on his neck. The passion grew gradually. Our kiss, which started as a light touch, turned into a greedy desire to possess the other completely. My lips and eyelashes trembled, and each new touch sent a jolt coursing over my skin, depriving me of my own will. Breaking away from each other to take a breath, we immediately merged again, unable to tolerate even a second's delay. Surprisingly, there was a crunch. CAIN stepped on something. Ignoring the sound and all other distractions, we dissolved into each other. But the crunch repeated, and CAIN broke the kiss, looking irritably at our feet. My notebook had fallen out of my clothes that slid off the sink. Picking it up, CAIN noticed a folded feather sticking out of the pages. Oh, that was his wing.
Nice.
Bye. I didn't want to throw it away. He took it out, straightened it, then bent it in a circle, tucking the tip into the crack in the shaft. What are you doing? CAIN placed the makeshift headband on my head and leaned aside, allowing me to see the mirror. He flapped his wings, and the feather briefly floated above my head.
It's your own halo.
Bye. Bye. Stunned, I suddenly looked at my reflection with fresh eyes. This flushed woman was attractive. Perhaps that's how CAIN saw me. The feather slowly descended onto my head. CAIN adjusted it, intending to continue our kiss, but we heard the sound of a door slamming in the hall. He pulled away in annoyance and looked at me dejectedly. Me!
You wanted to talk to the pastor, right? He's back. Go before it's too late.
But I want to continue this! For a second, a desire to stop me flashed in his eyes, but he held back. Damn, son. Picking up the fallen clothes and shaking them out, he handed them to me. He waited until I was dressed and then dropped my coat over my shoulders. Standing in front of him, I wanted to say something, but I didn't find the right words.
Let's go.
Ooh. Yeah, this is the consideration of a cockblock. After a moment's hesitation, I did as he said. The first kiss with CAIN eclipsed all other feelings experienced before. After spending a short time in the hall, I took an umbrella and went out to the statue. You're already soaked, girl. At this point, what is an umbrella gonna do? Admiring her soft features, I watched the rain.
There is something special about it, isn't there?
Startled, I turned toward the voice. The pastor was standing close by. It seemed he had been silently contemplating the sculpture before I arrived. Not knowing how best to start a conversation, I nodded. Yes, it's beautiful. Turning the umbrella in my hands and thinking through several conversational options, I still didn't know how to approach the pastor. Occasionally glancing at him, I hoped that he wasn't going to leave yet.
Did you arrive with the squad? I saw them return today.
Yes.
So they found what they were looking for, and you're their translator.
He looked at me for the first time. His face didn't express any emotions. It was extremely difficult to predict what reply he expected. I had to answer a question with a question. Does everyone already know?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a huge responsibility. I hope you have the strength to handle it. In any case, I'm always ready to support those who come to this church for help.
After a short pause, I asked, what if the help needed is of a specific nature?
Yes, and you'll find it out.
And taking out my notebook, I pointed to the drawing. I'm looking for this order. Someone advised me to talk to you. He was silent, not daring to speak. Realizing that I needed more to win him over, I added, his name is Jan. The pastor raised his eyebrows and thoughtfully turned away. His gaze was fixed on the night, and nothing on his face betrayed any emotion other than calm.
I haven't seen this symbol for a long time.
Can you tell me everything you know?
Before the cataclysm, an older man used to come to our church. He wore a brooch with a sign like that. I noticed him because he always kept to himself. He sat at the far end listening with half an ear as if he wasn't interested at all. I always wanted to ask him why he came to see us.
The pastor fell silent. After waiting quietly for a while, I decided to ask, And did you find out?
No, but I tried. There was an elderly couple who really wanted to see me, but neither could walk anymore. It was the first time I visited someone at home. I got out of a taxi and immediately saw him reading a newspaper in a neighboring yard. It turned out he lived somewhere nearby. He also recognized me and offered to give me a ride on the way back. I agreed, but first I asked him my question.
The pastor looked at me and smiled sadly. He didn't answer and you never saw him again, right?
Yes, he hasn't come to church since then.
Do you remember the address of the couple? I really need to find this person.
I'm not sure if this is a good idea. However, if it's that important, I will help.
Taking a pen, he wrote the address in my notebook.
Thank you.
You learned more about the owner of the brooch. This will come in handy in the future. Having gotten what I wanted, I thanked him and hurried to my room. When I got a good distance from the church, I wanted to turn around for some reason. CAIN! There was no one at the statue. Walking along the washed-out path, I clutched my notebook with the address, thinking, I need to check all the houses in this area. I need to ask for a map and reference books tomorrow. All I need to find out who lived here. Lightning flashed somewhere nearby, leaving the base without power. Not accustomed yet to Adam's layout, I navigated by using the few lights coming through the windows. And when the light was suddenly gone, my eternal compass began to malfunction. Oh shit. Trying to get back my memory, I wandered into one of the old corridors. We lost. The farther I walked, the quieter the sounds around me became. That didn't seem like a very good sign to me. Something told me to stop. Looking into the oppressive darkness ahead, I felt an itchy, unpleasant premonition of danger. Amen, my good sis, amen. I took a few steps back. I wanted to turn around and run away. Just as I was about to do so, I suddenly crashed into someone standing behind me. Oh, Greg, I'm actually happy to see you again. That's something.
Simona, why are you wandering around here alone?
The light went out when I was walking back. I got the wrong corridor.
Sometimes that happens, especially during heavy rain.
He looked down the corridor and frowned.
Don't come here. Some passages are blocked. They lead to a dead end and are not guarded. The ceiling here could collapse at any moment.
It seemed to me he didn't fully believe what he was saying, but I didn't object. Greg led me to the right corridor. He was holding some papers in his hands, and I got the feeling he was in a hurry.
Should I walk you to your room?
I think... Yes, he's a good friend. Y'all, I never know what to do. At this point, that's nice of him to offer. That's very kind of you. I'm gonna play with fire because I'm doing it in every fucking story. As soon as I nodded yes, Greg smiled warmly. It is obvious that he's still angry with me for the incident with Pylon, but he's not tormenting me with guilt.
Let's go.
I hope I'm not keeping you. I looked pointedly at the documents he was holding.
I can wait.
We walked very close. Gradually, Greg moved closer until our hands were gently brushing against each other. He didn't have to be pushy to make me nervous in his presence. Even a simple smile was disarming in his case. I remembered our first meeting in the living room. Out of the entire squad, he was the only one who emanated warmth. At first, you called me ice cold a lot, but then over time you stopped. Why?
I just realized that everything has its time.
Greg smiled again and my heart skipped a beat. Like, y'all, they actually have us in a chokehold. I'm so sorry. I regret nothing. I mean, CAIN is my babe, but I forgave Greg, so I'm gonna choose some romantic options here and there. I had to turn away and take a deep breath to calm down. I mean, yes, period. I mean, we are still hot and bothered because of CAIN. Like, having this man playing with our heartstrings is not gonna help us. First CAIN, now Greg. I was giving one of them false hope. What should I do if I can't be with them both? Time will tell, bitch. What are those papers?
I've collected all the reports since the crack appeared on the moon. We need to figure out how it affected the Earth.
So he has access to the data. Maybe I should ask Greg to help me find that old man? Do you have access to all kinds of information?
Of course not. Let's just say Sam gave these to me in secret. We're on good terms.
I tensed up when I heard that. I needed to calm down, but my irritation was brewing, making my emotions. I asked casually, "Did you use your charm?" He hesitated, looking at me as if seeing me for the first time.
It sounds like you think that's all I can do.
Well, you were nice and talked her into getting what you wanted.
I just asked her for the papers. Nothing out of the ordinary. She gave them to me because she used to go to school with my sister.
Sorry, I didn't mean that. It just slipped out for some reason. Nerves, probably. He looked at me thoughtfully.
I've had a special relationship with you from the very beginning. Do you think I'm like this with everyone?
No. The effect of my stupid suspicions was immediate. Greg moved away. I sighed heavily, hating myself for losing my temper. Start thinking with your head and pull yourself together. To somehow smooth things over, I approached Greg myself. His tall, impressive figure looked so unapproachable now. I carelessly mistook his kindness for indiscriminate flirting, and I wanted to go back to how it was by any means necessary. I accidentally touched his hand, but he didn't react. He just continued walking forward in silence. I guess he's not going to say anything else. I sighed heavily and pulled myself away. Greg looked at me, pursing his lips, and pulled me to him, hugging me. Oh,
everything is fine. Don't worry.
Oh, I felt his heartbeat and the heat of his body. His hand lay on my shoulder in a commanding yet caring gesture. I raised my head and our eyes met. Greg's face was impenetrable. His expression, usually so simple and clear, now showed hundreds of complex emotions. He subtly bent down just as a sharp bang clanged behind the door next to us. What is going on? I guess my window opened again. Greg lowered his hand and stepped back. This contradictory conversation pushed you even closer to each other. Y'all. I'm sorry, it's something I can't finish.
Off you go, then. Good night, Simona.
Good night to you, too. I darted into my room, slammed the window shut, and hurried to bed. Covering myself with my blanket, I realized how much I had previously underestimated a regular bed. Straightening my arms and arcing my back, I stretched with pleasure before wrapping myself up in the blanket. Someone had wanted to spike you in revenge, but the squad prevented it. You have a good relationship with them, huh? The night wasn't restful. I tossed and turned, trying to fall asleep and drive away an endlessly recurring nightmare. In my dream, I was torn apart by a crowd that had learned I was working on the book. People's graced faces penetrated my consciousness, causing anxiety. My own voice eluded me. Screaming felt useless. My eyes widened. A strange, barely perceptible whisper came from behind the door. Standing on the cold floor, I slowly approached the peephole. Someone's silhouette leaped away from the door and ran away. What's going on? Armed with a candlestick, I opened the door, not with a candlestick. What? There was no one behind it. I don't believe in ghosts. A gust of night air blew in from the corridor, and the door to my room closed quietly. I was dumbfounded. The order sign was drawn on it in blood, and below it was written, "I know who you are." Damn. What? I know who you are. I know who you are. The fuck? Someone actually dared to draw the symbol of the order against my door and saying, "I know who you are." Perv? Like, I can't, but oh my god, this episode was a lot. But we will see what next episode will be like. I think someone said it was 3 episodes, so let's see. I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.